Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. I don't know why I'm speaking like Paul Ince, but this is your preview for Atletico Madrid against Manchester United in Oslo. I tell you, it's not normally I get to sit back on the sofa and just sit back. But look, this is apparently this is our toughest game of the season, pre-season. I disagree. I'll tell you why in a minute. But we will see United's strongest team. Big weekend for United. Saturday we play in Oslo against Atletico Madrid. I think it's 1:15 kick-off. And then on the Sunday we're playing at Old Trafford against Rayo Vallecano at 4 o'clock, which will be the reserves. And on Saturday we should see the first team. Now I'll go through what I think Man United's strongest team is in a minute, because I think it might differ to what you think. And obviously I'm not going to include people like Frankie de Jong or Anthony or anyone like that in it. But I will include Ronaldo because he's still a United player. So we'll talk about that. But I just want to say, I personally think that the toughest pre-season game we've had, and it will be the toughest pre-season game, is Villa. And the reason I say this is, if you do your research, Atletico Madrid have only played one pre-season game before us, and that was on Wednesday night. And their season doesn't start till the 15th of August, which is 11 days after us. So I actually think, although on paper Atletico Madrid is a tougher game for us, we're going to be playing, and this happened a few years ago when we played Real Madrid in the on the US tour, and I think it happened with Barcelona as well. You get hyped up and excited by the opposition's name, but actually pre-season is about where you're at, and Atletico Madrid are nowhere near where we're at, and they don't need to be. They're not playing for basically nearly another 2 weeks after us, their first game, so their fitness levels don't need to be as high as ours do a week out. So I think we will be sharper, fitter, and more productive. Radiohead in this game. So I think we'll win, and I think that it's dangerous, isn't it? I want Ten Hag to be confident, and I want this Ten Hag United side to be confident and ready for the start of the season. But it is dangerous because you've almost got the team, and then you've got the transfers, and the team is doing decent for what it's got. Well spotted with the tissue. I've got a bit of a runny nose surfing yesterday. I got a lot of seawater up my nose. So for nothing else. And then you've got the transfers, which I think are abysmal. Some of you seem to disagree. We'll agree to differ. I think if we beat Atletico Madrid comfortably, people are going to get hyped about the team that we've got. But as I said, we could beat this Atletico Madrid side 4 or 5-0, and it would mean nothing, because literally on Wednesday, Simeone was doing the whole half a team for one half and half a team for the other. We're past that. We're basically at a point where we're ready to play a 90-minute team, because we're 1 week away from the start of the Premier League season. So fitness levels are going to be very different. I mean, there's still some good players in that Atletico Madrid side, and I'm sure we'll see them. But I think that the likes of, think of United players that you don't necessarily trust to play top 4 football. So most of them. No, seriously, well, we may as well go for the cliche. McTominay and Fred will probably look like prime Kante and Kimmich against Atletico Madrid, because their fitness levels are nowhere near ours. And pre-season Pirlo is the prime example, isn't it? Andres Pereira, he has been good in pre-season. So I think for United, we've just got to take it as what it is. It's an opportunity to get a bit of chemistry, play another game, and build confidence. And I expect us to win quite comfortably, because I just don't think Atletico Madrid will be at the level that we're at. So I would probably say 3-4, maybe 5-0. I really do see that. The Vallecano game, again, it's another Spanish side, isn't it? So, and it's our reserves. And I think, again, it could be quite a comfortable win for us at Old Trafford against a team that's not going to be, well, it's not as good as Atletico Madrid, but also their pre-season is different to ours. They're a couple of weeks behind us, if we're being honest. But that's the trouble with pre-season. You're never going to get nail on the head competition. That's why I liked that Villa game, because you're playing a team that was 2 weeks out from the start of the season like us, and that was the best pre-season game we've played and the hardest game we've played. I hope Atletico Madrid can give us a bit of a game, but I think you've got to take into account what I've just said there. So how do I think we'll line up? Well, he's going to pick his strongest team, and I think Ten Hag's strongest team at the moment is De Gea, Dalot, Maguire. Would he put Martinez in this game? I think he might go with Lindelof still. I still think he might go Lindelof. Shaw, probably. That could be Malacia, but I'd say Shaw, probably. Midfield, I think he'll stick with McTominay and Fred. I don't think Donny's done enough, although I think he should start. And then, obviously, Bruno, Sancho, Rashford, Martial. So I think it will be Magaluf, McFred, Bruno, Martial, De Gea as the spine. And I think it would be Shaw, Dalot, Rashford and Sancho as the right and the left. I don't want to see McTominay and Fred starting games for Manchester United, so I would break that up. Whether you can get Eriksen in, whether you can get Donny in, I would take McTominay out and I'd put one of those two in. I've just got a funny feeling Lisandro Martinez and Eriksen won't play against Atletico Madrid and that they'll play against Vallecano, which will then leave it open as to whether either of those two can then play against Brighton, which they can. I don't think the team that starts against Atletico Madrid starts against Brighton. That's what I'm trying to say. But I do think the team that starts against Atletico Madrid will pretty much be the team from the tour. And I think you'll see probably Varane and Lisandro Martinez playing against Real Vallecano on Sunday, which would be the second time because they played against Wrexham together. So maybe we have a week of, are they going to put those two players together against Brighton? I still think there's a lot to do. And I suppose what I would just say there very, very quickly as well is, I just want to give you my best 11, United's best 11, because I think this might surprise people. Obviously, I can't put any non-signings in. I've got to go with what we've got. But my best United 11, and the team I would be looking to play against Brighton, although I've got to accept that fitness levels may not allow it. But if everybody was fully fit, my best United 11 from this squad at the moment would be De Gea, Dalot, Varane, Martinez, and Malacia. I would go Malacia. I don't think Luke Shaw and Malacia, there's a lot between them at the moment. And I just think, well, are we just going to pick Luke Shaw because he's Premier League proven? I think maybe start Malacia and give... I just think I really like Luke Shaw, as people know. But the reason I would go with Malacia, and I'm sure people are shocked, I really like Luke Shaw. But I think if you buy a player and then you stick with the established player, well, you may as well have Tellez and Shaw. If you start the new player and unsettle the established player then has to work hard to get the team back, get back into the team. And I just think you start on the right foot for competition. So I would go Malacia at left back. My midfield two at the moment would be Fred and Eriksen. I would try Fred and Eriksen. I mean, there's no height there. And this is why McTominay is going to continue to earn a living. There's no height in the midfield with Fred and Eriksen. And don't underestimate height. I can't stand it. You can give me loads of examples of teams not playing with height, but I think McTominay is going to keep his place. But I would go Eriksen and Fred. Bruno obviously ahead of that. And then I would go Ronaldo through the middle, Sancho to the right, and I'd actually put Martial on the left. I know people will be surprised by that, but I'd put Martial on the left because I think that United have got to be creative from the flanks. And I think that Sancho's creative, and I think Martial understands possession, little link-up plays, and I'd like to see Martial off the left, but it'd probably be Rashford, won't it? So yeah, that would be my team. Probably a little bit different to what some people would do, but that would be my strongest team. But I look at that team and I think there's still so much that needs to be done on it. And over a course of a season, we're going to struggle this season. We really are. If we don't get 2 or 3 more signings in, I think we're going to really struggle. There's just no depth up front, and the midfield is ridiculously weak, as we saw last year. But I'm predicting a good start to the season. I think that you can have a bad summer transfer window and still have a good start to the season. And the reason, and everybody knows this, is it's a 38-game season. Brighton at home and Brentford away is actually, if you're Man City or Liverpool or Spurs, you're quite happy with that. You're not going to disrespect Brighton and Brentford. They're both capable on their days. But Brighton at home and Brentford away, in years gone by, we'd have been going, that's a perfect 6 points. So I think United will start well, because I think regardless of what we did last year, confidence of the summer, new manager, new style of play, starting off at Old Trafford, I think we can beat Brighton and I think we can beat Brentford. And then that Liverpool game becomes huge. And I think we could get something against Liverpool at Old Trafford. So I really do think we can start the season with 7 points. And then I think when we hit September, October is when reality will bite. And unfortunately, the transfer window will be shut. I can see us having a really good August and Richard Arnold and the Glazers sitting there and going, we're all right, we're all right. Transfer window shuts, and then suddenly you've got to get through to January with what you've got. And I don't think it'll be enough when Europa League kicks in, Carabao Cup kicks in, World Cup kicks in, Premier League kicks in. But look, that's for the future. We'll talk about that stuff next week, and Premier League preview and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, looking forward to the weekend. Just one thing I wanted to say as well is a lot of people don't understand why we're playing 2 games over the weekend. So it makes complete sense to me. We had a behind closed doors game against Wrexham on Wednesday. Mainly that was for people who needed a bit of game time, but obviously we'd only got back from Australia on the Sunday, so you couldn't play a first team. First team was never going to be completely ready till this weekend, get back to Carrington, solve a few problems, get back into training. So really, it was like, play one more game or get two in over the same weekend. And I think this makes a lot of sense because you play your first team predominantly on Saturday, and then you play your backup players on Sunday. Everybody gets 90 minutes, and for Ten Hag, it gives him 2 games to analyse players that he maybe not sure of. If he had a definitive starting 11, I don't think he'd need these 2 games. But what it does do is, if Shaw starts against Atletico Madrid, Malacia starts against Vallecano, Malacia plays better, he maybe gets the place against Brighton. If Varane plays against one and plays brilliantly, and maybe Maguire doesn't, and maybe Varane gets the spot. So I think it's basically A team, B team, first team, reserves. But I don't think it's established as that yet. And I think, therefore, there are probably people that can play against Vallecano and still start against Brighton. And that's why I think Lisandro Martinez and Eriksen will probably start against Vallecano, because it's Old Trafford. It's their first game in front of a crowd at Old Trafford. It probably serves a purpose to play them in the Vallecano game. But both of those could play against Brighton. So I think both games are going to be really, really interesting. I'm looking forward to them. Anyway, I'm going to go and do a bit of surfing. Hope you're doing well. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure you smash a like on the video, and please do subscribe. We are so close to 400,000 subscribers, 1.4 million, but 400,000. So please do subscribe. Get your comments in below. Tell me what your best 11 is, because you might disagree with me, and also what your thoughts are ahead as we move towards a very big weekend. Of course, we'll have both watch-alongs on this weekend, which I will be back doing. So looking forward to that as well. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care.